Welcome back to Best Ball Summer with ETR. We are August 21st. We have been drafting all summer, officially 2 weeks away. 2 weeks tonight, we are going to have real, actual American, not preseason football. I'm pumped. And with me today from the ETR Projections team, Mark Dankenbring. How are we doing?
Fantastic, Justin. That's set the table, man. Get the juices flowing. 2 weeks from tonight. That is music to my ears for sure. I'm traveling back home to Cincinnati this weekend for an auction draft with a bunch of my college buddies. That always signals that the season is close. So pumped to be here with you and get some drafters action in today.
Love it, love it. And yeah, you were just talking before the show started. You got a round in yesterday, and that's no more rounds the foreseeable future because your grind goes hard.
Exactly. Yeah, got around to golfing last night and played well at least, which was a nice consolation prize. But yeah, I was while I'm on the course, I'm like, man, I'm just sacrificing draft time right now. So back in the saddle today and gonna keep chugging along.
Hey, well, we are getting to the point where if you're in slow drafts, slow draft hell begins. Clocks start dropping. Yes, things get real. But for today, we're not talking slow drafts. We're going fast drafts, and we are going to be on Drafter's site doing their $20 main event. Let me share my screen if you are interested in jumping in there with us. Now's the time because I'm hitting the button and we are going. Go ahead and join. There you go, 8 people. We can get this going quickly. For people who are first-time depositors, if you want, you can get double your first deposit up to $100. Use promo code ETR. Down in the show notes, there is a direct link, but also if you, when you make that first deposit, just put in that promo code ETR and you will double that deposit to that $100. And so obviously you got that going, but not just for first-time depositors. For anyone who is watching this chat, later on, what we're going to do is run a little giveaway, and you can do it. No, we're going to wait a little. Maybe when we pick out, I'm going to give a player. I got a player in my head. When Mark either drafts this player or someone else drafts him, we'll run that giveaway, and the winner will get a $20 main event ticket, courtesy of drafters as well. So hang out, stay tuned, hang out and chat. Draft is going. What spot are you hoping for?
Man, I don't know, on drafters probably. Oh, I was gonna say, well, man, since we're live and we probably have people in the chat, I don't want to tip my hand too much, but this is a good spot. I like the spot quite a bit.
Yeah. 6 and 7 are pretty earlier in the year. 6 was like my clear go-to, but kind of with the Ladd McConkey injury, now we have the Achane as well. The second round gets a little thinner. So I still like the 6 and the 7 because I'm still happy with whoever falls to us at 7. And then on the other side, yeah, Achane's interesting. Let's start off with that one. What are we doing with Devon Achane? What's the projection team thinking?
Yeah, I think well, first of all, with drafters, since this is a full season long contest, it's just, cumulative scoring. I think Achane certainly takes a ding in this field a lot more than, let's say, DraftKings or Underdog, with when we're playing for the playoff weeks. So we've shaved off some ceiling. So with every player, we have a base outcome and a ceiling outcome. And when guys get dinged up in training camp, if we don't have a great timeline, typically we'll ding the ceiling case a little bit. So that's what we've done with Achane. The first, I would say the top 20 picks are all really tight. So it dropped them about 5 or 6 spots in the rankings. I think 18, again, with this format is kind of right on the cusp. I'd prefer not to go that route. I'd probably wait to the end of the second round to want to draft Achane in a format like this, maybe even third round, but it certainly, is concerning at this time of the year. Oh, CMC we were board. That's who I was hoping for. I think he is just absolutely the best pick in this format.
I see that. And for your thought process is just, hey, week 1's just as important as week 17. So
exactly.
Yeah, but Justin Jefferson falling us to a 7. I assume that's what we want to go with.
Yep. Love it.
Okay. Any concern for Justin Jefferson injury lingering into the season?
Not really. I mean, went back to practice this week, seemingly is ramping up. The discourse around it has been that it's mild, more preventative. So, the fact that he is back at practice now, we have 2 weeks till the first game. I feel like Jefferson is in a good spot. And then we also have, Addison out suspended for the first 3 games. So again, in a league like drafters, that's a pretty big boon to Jefferson here in the early weeks.
And hey, in chat, we've got some friends in there. Looks like right here, Elite Dom Adams is the one who took your McCaffrey, says sorry, but yeah, no tears shed. We've got, let's see, I think I saw someone else here. We got Calhoun in the 11 spot.
Nice.
GL. The back half of the first draft, beginning of the second, looked really strong a month or two ago, but it seems like the injury bug has just kind of crippled that part of the draft, or at least led to some doubt. Um, Malik Neighbors, obviously Puka with the Matthew Stafford. How yeah, are we just ready to get the season started? Like just treading water here?
Absolutely. The Rams situation is really tricky just because I was drafting quite a bit of Puka and Devontae Adams. Love both of those guys, and now just some uncertainty all around. Obviously, good that Stafford's back at practice, but 37-year-old with a back injury taking a big hit in a regular season game. I'm a little concerned there. So in my mind, I have dropped them a little bit. We've also just put some ceiling docs on all the Rams guys with the Stafford concern. So that is baked into the projection. So I don't want to double count too much there.
Yep. Okay. Coming back to us, one more pick, and then we've got some interesting players available. There is the HM, but also you have Derrick Henry, who this is PPR, so we don't like them as much as a half PPR, but it's also full season, and I think that maybe helps Derrick Henry a little. I don't know, maybe not.
I think a little bit,
Yeah, just because of the age aspect.
Yeah,
I would.
What do you think?
I'd go Bowers or Henry.
I'm in the same boat. I would have potentially argued for Chase Brown there, but I think with him off the board, I'm good with either of those two. So I'll leave it up to you.
Okay. Let's go Bowers.
Cool.
Let's
Yeah,
Derrick Henry in PPR just feels like a triple condom play.
I certainly do lean into the vets more. Like I have very little exposure to Derrick Henry on DraftKings specifically, and along those lines of thinking that injury risk could be higher as the season goes along for someone of his age and number of career touches. And in this format, I'm a little more willing to lean into the vets again because he's healthy to start the season. All training camp reports are that he's in as good a shape as they typically are this time of year. But I certainly pumped to get Brock Bowers in a PPR league.
Yeah, and I'm not at all concerned about the preseason usage that Michael Mayer was kind of getting a little more work with the ones. Like I think we can trust that Brock Bowers is just an aspiring superstar, level talent. So we'll get his usage. For me with Brock Bowers, it's in this structure. So again, it is PPR. It is also season, the entire full season. We're not trying to hit those spike weeks as you are in some of the other contests for the playoffs. Spike week in the week 3 is the same as spike week later on.
Mm-hmm.
Tight end in general for me, because it's PPR, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, they do have that extra level of value, in my opinion. So I'm willing to go with a bit more elite. I think we're trying to build out like a 0.01% team because you're just straight up competing against everyone else in this contest, which is tens of thousands. Let me see how many actually are in this contest. Pulling up in another tab real quick. 140,000, not accounting for the expected overlay. And so if we need such an elite one, like you want to hit those elite seasons. And if it ends up being the Jonnu Smith later on, then you get the value and you get it. But Brock Bowers has the ability to separate across, away from the rest of the field that I'm okay taking that elite. And look at that. George Kittle already going mid-third.
Wow. Team building
Hill.
the Niner stack there.
Our rankings would strongly suggest Tyreek Hill, but obviously there's levels of concern there. What are you thinking?
I'm clicking JSN over Tyreek at this point.
Okay. Now, does Tyreek fit better for this structure? Because if he goes crazy in week 13, it's not as big of a deal.
I don't know, because I think with JSN too, one of the knocks on him is that there's a chance for Jalen Milroe to take over towards the end of the season, and you don't necessarily have as much concern with that in this format because we're kind of guaranteed. I don't know what double digit starts from Darnold at this point, so probably a lot more. I think that risk is pretty minimal compared to like a Tyreek flame out, but I got a decent amount of exposure to Tyreek throughout the summer, so at this point I'm kind of going other ways. I've been taking a lot more Josh Allen and Lamar in the third rounds. the third round is certainly a tough spot to draft, I think, at this point in time.
Yeah. Or early third, I don't hate, because sometimes you can still get like that Josh Jacobs kind of falling.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, Trey McBride here at that pick 28, I think is really strong. But yeah, once you get to the middle back half, it gets pretty rough. One thing that we should probably keep in mind is zero RB. You know, we don't have running back yet. Zero
Right.
RB is a little more difficult to pull off in this structure, because if we're not getting RB points in week one, like, it really puts you behind the eight ball. Like, when you're thinking, okay, all I have to do is advance out of my league and then I make it to the playoffs. If you can finish in your top 2 out of 12, you're fine. And so if you have a slow start, it doesn't matter as much. Here, you don't really want that crazy slow start, because, you know, you've got to basically finish in the top whatever amount throughout the season. So I don't want to go like full zero RB, but I'm not going to force a player that we don't love, like maybe going Kyron instead of JSN there.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a great point on zero RB, because zero RB is meant to dominate leagues that, you know, peak in the fantasy playoffs, and you want a running back room that potentially has some handcuffs that have gone into the starting role and for the fantasy playoffs, and it's almost like survival mode in the early weeks. So definitely agree that, you know, if there are tiebreakers maybe going to running back, so maybe we should have done that with Derrick Henry, but still plenty of time to make up here.
Yeah. Okay. No real running backs near the top of our queue here. Lots of wide receivers. If we did, it'd be Brees Hall, Kamara, Jaden Daniels, wide receivers, 15 seconds. I'm open to whatever.
I'm a big fan of Xavier Worthy. Given the cost here in ADP, I could see going him or Jaden Daniels as well.
Okay. Xavier Worthy, another player that fits this contest, where I think we expect Rashee Rice to be back for the fantasy playoffs. There's a little doubt that with regards to suspension, appeal, how long, all that. But we're fully expecting Rashee Rice is going to miss probably around 6, maybe a little more games throughout the season. And that's going to happen in the regular season. For contests that you're playing for the playoffs, it's going to happen regular season. So like you know, Xavier Worthy loses value. Rashee Rice is back for the fantasy playoffs. Here, we're getting that value. So contests where we do want to prioritize either early or regular season, I do like Xavier Worthy.
I'm curious, since we have Bowers, I know in DraftKings you're a fan of getting kind of 3 tight ends no matter what, even if you go elite, given the 20 round format. Do you feel the same on drafters, where we are kind of just playing for that, you know, 0.1% outcome, and it's more of the season long total?
Yeah, usually I want to go with 2 at the onesies positions, because it gives you that better opportunity, like, to hit on the Puka or the Kyron. Those are the ones that when they happen, you pretty much have to have them. Where, I mean, Bo Nix was fantastic last year as a late round QB, but you didn't need him, because it's so hard for a late round QB to really surpass the, you know, surpass the rest, because you only need to play 1 each week. Running back, wide receiver, when you have the Kyron, no, Kyron didn't finish as the, you know, RB1 overall. I probably think he finished around like a top 10, but because you can start 3 of those, it's just so much more valuable for your team. So I'm not saying like you have to go only 2 at each position, but that's kind of my goal.
Yeah.
I think 3 QB, if I'm going to go 3, I'd rather go 3 QB
Agreed.
than the 3 tight end side of things. Just QBs provide a little more points. It makes more sense on a half PPR site, the impact to their lineup. But to this, I would say there's so many tight ends that I like at the end of drafts that, like, we can kind of say like, hey, round 19, round 20, we can shoot for upside. If we take tight end with both, it's fine. You're not giving up much capital. Yeah.
Yep, totally agree. I think it's really fun being able to go elite onesie and then take, you know, just multiple shots at the running back and wide receiver positions.
Yeah. Okay. Running backs. I'm just gonna throw some in the queue just so we're keeping an eye out.
Wow,
You
Buka
can tell
53 overall. I was wondering if he was going to be there at 55 for us.
All right. I'm going to talk a little about the Egbuka, because I put out that, Brees Hall going
Dang
there
it.
first.
That would have been awesome.
I think we got to go to Kamara.
Okay.
I mean, just positional need. He fits the structure of this contest.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I don't have too much pushback.
Okay. But that sounds like you have some pushback.
I'm just so used to clicking like the Waddle,
Right.
Zay Flowers guys that I don't have much Kamara, and standard best ball, I don't have too much Kamara at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, if we were on it, if this was a more traditional contest where it's playoffs, I agree because I'm like, you know what? We're just going to make it work. And all we have to do is beat out the other people in our league to advance the playoffs. And we can figure that out with running backs. But when we need to beat out 100,000, we need to make sure we're getting points in the early weeks for running back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Egbuka. So I put out an article yesterday, 2 days ago. I don't know. Everything's blending together now. That specifically talks about like how do we handle these Ja'Cory Bill Krosky merit situations, the Egbukas, the Travion Hendersons. And I think in a structure like drafters, it's actually that much worse to be taking someone who's already had that crazy rise because you don't have the randomness of the fantasy playoffs to kind of, make up for here. If people, how many teams have been taking Egbuka in the 8th, 9th round?
Yeah.
And every single one of those is that if Egbuka becomes a league winner, if he finishes as the literal wide receiver 1, then you have 140,000 divided by 12. I don't know, 11,000, almost 12,000 teams that also have Egbuka. But 12,000 of those has him as a 9th rounder. So now all of the other 5th and 5th rounders that they have with them, you need your 9th rounder to beat their 5th rounder. And not just one of them, but all of them. So it's such a difficult game to kind of, in this structure, to beat all of those teams that I'd rather kind of say, hey, I just need to make a bet that like Egbuka is not going to be the guy you need and hope that someone else is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we can easily play kind of like the 2v2 game here a little bit with Breece Hall going the pick after. So let's say, we can kind of monitor that. If that team in the 5 hole went Breece Hall in that spot and then would have been able to get Egbuka in the 8th or 9th round, a few weeks ago, then those are kind of the things that you can play.
Exactly. Okay. Chuba and James Conner are both available here. I think that works out pretty nicely for us.
Cool. I'd be James Conner over Chuba.
Okay.
Given its full PPR.
Talk me through. Yep. I like that. So
I don't think Chuba's going to have
Dowdle.
much of a role in the pass game at all. He was one of the worst receiving backs in the NFL last year. They signed Rico Dowdle in the offseason. He was getting 3rd down snaps in the preseason. Trevor Etienne, the rookie back they drafted, also more of a pass catcher. So, I'm not a huge fan of Chuba in PPR. And honestly, Rico Dowdle, not necessarily lauded as the most talented player, but rushed for over 1,000 yards with Dallas last year, which is nothing to sneeze at. So I lean Conner there. And again, it's kind of like leaning into the veteran here. Don't have to worry about Conner's injury risk too much as we approach the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, I love that. So that's a great recap of kind of the conversation we've been having for the last, I'd say, month or two in our Slack with regard to projections, because we first have the kind of last year's data, which just created a narrative that like Chuba Hubbard is not a good, efficient pass catcher. Okay. Then we see they sign Rico Dowdle, who has that as a skill set, not amazing, but a skill set. And they draft Etienne, who actually that is one of the better things he's at. So it tells us the Panthers want to have someone else kind of play a bit more the pass catcher. Then tie it all together, both preseason games, we see Rico Dowdle is the one who's actually playing on the 3rd down on the passing downs. And so all of those, I agree with you, are telling me Chuba Hubbard, hey, they still love him. He's still like the captain, still the veteran, but I don't think he's going to play nearly as much of a pass catching role as we've seen in the past years. I think he was like 13th out of running backs in either targets or receptions. I was looking this up recently last year. So like nothing to sniff at, but if you lose that, I think he loses almost a little less than 4 points of production, fantasy production, just from that receiving. Now it's not all going to go away, but yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's just a price thing. Like at 71, I think Chuba is probably still a strong pick in PPR formats. It's just, splitting hairs. And at this point in time, I'm going to lean Conner.
Oh, I mean, in half PPR, he's going like around 54, 55. So yeah, you're getting a round and a half value there. Yeah. Okay, looking at these guys, I have a couple that I like. I think we're okay to go back to wide receiver if we want now.
Hmm.
Um, I do think it is pretty important to stack in this structure. Now, that can be stacking your QB with your running back or your QB with your pass catchers because you're betting more on the team across the season. Not saying we have to reach, but just something to keep in mind. Oof, I would have really liked Jerry Judy.
Yeah, because he's another one where we know Joe Flacco is going to start the season. Like, the early season production should be pretty strong there. The wide receiver room for Cleveland is really thin at this point in time. So he's certainly someone that I'd be more willing to draft in this type of format.
Yep. Honestly, we are getting to quite a wide receiver teardrop. I think we probably want to prioritize wide receiver. Okay, Rasheed
Oh
Rice
man,
just goes. We are now up.
I would have loved Rasheed
Jennings,
at this point.
Addison, down Shakir. I'd push for Jennings and hope for the best. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I certainly don't love it as much in this format
Want to go
again,
running
just
back?
with the threat. I would be, man, I'm fine with Jennings if you want. See, this is kind of where in the fifth, I would much rather have had Waddle and then been able to go like Connor and a running back at this point. But I just think the board didn't fall favorably for us there.
Yeah. I mean,
I like Juwan
you know what?
Jennings a
Jennings.
lot. He's certainly someone I have a lot of at this point. I think the calf issue is more of a contract concern, but again, we're 2 weeks out, and we know that, or I shouldn't say we know, but the trend has been the last few years when guys sit out in training camp, they start the season a little slower, and so I'm somewhat worried about that, but the upside for Juwan I think is still really good at that point in the draft.
If we found out that Jennings got a new contract tomorrow, then we just
Yeah.
got like probably a round plus. So I don't hate the pick. I do. Okay. Yeah, I don't hate it. Okay. I want to take this because we were talking about it. But first off, James Conner didn't get hurt last year. He was still a pretty strong running back last year. The Trey Benson stuff, we've been hearing this nonstop, but when the game's going, like they still trust Connor more. Maybe Benson's going to play a role, but like, I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. And then, yes, I know Hubbard caught 43 passes last year. That's what we expect to go down because he wasn't efficient when he was catching those passes. And they brought in two backs who are better at pass catching. Uh, People take offense when it's like we talk down a player who they probably have on their home team or have bags of. It's not that we don't like them, especially as kind of Dank said, hey, we love them at 71, but at that price that we were looking at compared to other players, we've got to kind of, think about it. I'm
All
going to
right.
put Mahomes in the queue. That would be
Yep.
with our Xavier Worthy.
Very good with that. If that is what falls to us.
Yeah, I think easy pick.
Cool.
We're getting a round of value.
Yep. Love it.
All right, cool. Caleb Johnson, I don't know. If I haven't been driving it, I've been at least been like first chair for the anti Caleb Johnson this year, pro Jalen Warren. But I've actually found myself taking him a couple times over the past 2 days because he has fallen so much. Where's your kind of head at right now on Caleb Johnson?
I think as the season progresses, he's the favorite to be, the first and second down workhorse back for the Steelers. I do think obviously Jalen Warren will be mixed in on primary passing downs and still get some base carries as well. And I do think Kenneth Gainwell is going to be involved. Caleb Johnson certainly has the most size of that group. So if I think he's probably the favorite for the goal line back as well. So he's someone I like a lot more in half PPR standard formats rather than full PPR. The reports out of camper, he's really struggled in pass protection and pass catching out of the backfield. So, he's kind of, if I'm splitting hairs, that would be where I go. But I agree. I have started to scoop him as he gets kind of into like the 90s and even close to 100 in certain spots. But I'm more willing to click on Underdog or other half PPR sites.
Makes sense. Okay, Jacory Krosky Merritt goes. ETN Dobbins, I don't love either, but based off what this team is looking like, I think we should strongly consider them.
Yep. I like ETN. I would also be fine with someone like Christian Kirk here.
I think My argument on the running back is these are the last ones that are going to give us points to start the season.
Yeah,
So
that's good. We have ETN pretty well ahead in ranks too, so I'm good
okay,
going ETN.
okay, let's do it. I obviously like again. I think this is one of those players where ETN is going here is similar to where he goes on DraftKings and Underdog, but on DraftKings and Underdog, he's less valuable because there's an increased likelihood that Bashal Tutin plays a dominant role in the second half and playoffs. Here, there are no fantasy playoffs, so the value that we're getting out of ETN when it's pretty clear Tutin's not going to have a major role to start the season, ETN should be going higher. And same
Mm-hmm.
thing, like Dobbins was also available. We expect Dobbins to have less of a role during the fantasy playoffs, more of a role early on. But I think these are some examples, and you can kind of continue to find these throughout the draft where there's, I don't know, I don't want to call it arbitrage, but leverage opportunities on specific sites when you're drafting.
Yeah, and if you're using the ETR ranks to draft on drafters, just keep in mind that these are the same, PPR ranks that we have across all formats, same inputs, I should say. We have ADP factored in, which could affect them a little bit, but we can't necessarily like boost or lower certain player archetypes just based on the contest. That's not how our current projections and rankings are set up to operate. So when you're going through this draft, you can kind of think about the range of outcomes with these players and what part of the season they're most likely to be involved, or if again, like with ETN, I think with our running back room at this point, we're pretty heavily leaned towards the early part of the season, and as the draft goes along, I think we'll want to kind of stagger that with guys that we think can peak towards the second half.
For sure. And like, if we didn't get ETN, then I'm like, you know what? Jerome Ford looks kind of nice later on. But now I'm like, we don't really need the Jerome Ford. Now let's go more for those upside guys that are going to have the chance to break out.
Mm-hmm.
We are coming. I wanted to talk about Kyler Murray with this team. So normally when we think of stacking with best ball, we think of pass catchers with their QB because in a 1 week sample where you want to win week 17, QBs and wide receivers, QBs and tight ends correlate the most. However, in this structure, QBs and running backs actually have pretty strong correlation across the season. Purdy goes. I would have liked that. But so I'm more willing to take someone like a Kyler with James Conner because I'm not looking for that big explosive 1 week where they may inversely correlate. You're looking for the team correlation across the season.
Cool. We're on the clock.
We are on the clock. I'd be okay with Mooney here. It's a little
Mooney's
bit of a
fine.
reach.
I'm also fine going Caleb if we wanted another quarterback at this point to get some upside. Let's see, or we could go someone like Scatabo if we wanted like the second half.
I went with Caleb. A little bit of running out of time. A little bit in my head, I'm thinking, oh, Luther Burden and Colson Loveland just went. So, like, what are we going to backstack them with? So
I didn't
this
see
is
Luther.
one
I
where
didn't see Burden went. I saw Loveland did. And that's
yeah.
my bad.
But honestly, like Luther Burden going at 112 here, I think his ADP is like 134 on DraftKings. He should not be going at 112 here. There is a very good chance that Luther Burden doesn't have. There is a non-zero chance he doesn't get a target week 1. There's a very good chance he's not really putting up a starting fantasy performance week 1. And like, he's going to take time to develop. Like, it's pretty clear Olamide Zaccheaus is going to have that, Amon-Ra St. Brown role ahead of him. But I still love Luther Burden, but I love him more in a contest where he's going to thrive in the back. And yeah, here we go. Clint right here saying Cole Kmet, Zaccheaus, Roshan. Roshan's the one that kind of popped in my head as well, where I was just talking about the Kyler and the James Conner, Caleb and Roshan is that similar kind of correlation.
Yeah, I've started to tack on Cole Kmet last round of DraftKings if I have Caleb for sure, because there's certainly he could be involved right away, and then if Colson Loveland were to get hurt, then Cole Kmet I think could be a big part of the offense.
Yeah, I mean, Cole Kmet in one of the preseason games looked pretty good out there with Caleb Williams. Just kind of playing middle of the field, a little downfield. Okay, I think we're done at QB at least for a while. We could maybe get another.
Yeah,
like
that's a bummer. Shoot,
something.
I'm sorry on that. Would have been nice to go Mooney and then potentially
We're
get
good. We're good.
McCarthy here, but we can rebound.
Scadabo's still available. Ramondre, wide receiver. Hollywood Dot. Okay, don't love any of the wide receivers.
Yeah, I think we can wait on wide receiver a little bit with just the ADP. I'd
I
be with
like Scatabo.
Scatabo.
Okay.
Sure.
And this is where if we didn't get the ETN, I maybe would have pushed a little more Ramondre for the early season.
Yeah.
But Scadabo's back at practice, or at least slowly easing back into practice. I still think he has the opportunity to win both the pass catching and the goal line role and just make Tyrone Tracy more of a between the 20s rusher. It's going to take time, but because we took our medicine with Kamara, Connor, and ETN, we can afford to have a little bit more of a late bloomer.
Absolutely.
Huham's here talking about the Caleb rushing. Yeah, I feel like Caleb's rushing is a bit like under discussed across the industry. Now, as the team gets better, we could see him rush less. A lot of times, historically, you see like rookie QBs end up rushing more that first year than they do later on when they have more time to understand, develop in the system, and just become a bit more of a pocket presence. But that said, like, I still think like Caleb does have rushing ability that we should not be discounting. Ramondre's still available.
When you go to the wide receivers.
Hollywood, Dobbs, Tillman, Trey Harris, Kyle Williams. I feel like everyone's pretty similar at this point.
At this point, I'd probably lean wide receiver since we only have 4.
Okay.
And I would be in the camp
Tillman?
if we didn't have Mahomes, I'd be Dobbs. With Mahomes, I might choose Hollywood, but I'm good with Dobbs or
let's do
Hollywood.
Okay. I know it's ADP. All right. We definitely reached on Hollywood there, but it's the correlation. It was worth it. And we're tight on time. I think
that's fine too, because I don't necessarily mind reaching just because I think his ADP has been depressed because he wasn't practicing. Now he's back at practice. Seems to be in line for week 1, so I'm fine with that.
I like that. And like in my mind, okay, so I'll just talk through what I was thinking is like, I see you mentioned Romeo Dobbs. Romeo Dobbs' ADP is 148. So that's just as much about the same reach. But if I'm going to reach, I want to reach more for the player that stacks with ours. I was thinking maybe the Tillman, particularly because you've got the Flacco aspect and the ADP 131, but you didn't mention him. I didn't have time to kind of talk through if you liked him. I agree that like, even though the running backs were the top of the queue, we're a little light on wide receiver, even though we started with 3 strong ones. So I think Hollywood overall is a good decision.
Yeah, with Tillman, it's more so. I think just since we have the stack, that's why I lean Hollywood there. We're above in ranking. So even kind of going off ADP, it's Tillman. I don't know. I don't have a super strong opinion on him, to be honest.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think the Browns have a solid, strong opinion on anything with what's going to happen in that offense. They're still signing wide receivers. Who knows? Okay, Bashal Tootin goes there. One of my definitely favorite picks. Better for other structures than this, but still a strong pick. Wide receivers here: Trey Harris, Kyle Williams, Wandale, Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen. Running backs: Rashad White, Tyler Algier, Tyjae Spears, Dylan Sampson, Garendo. There's 1 or 2 that I like here.
I think
what do you think?
Dylan Sampson would be my favorite.
Thank you. Okay.
Let's go. Nice.
That was one I was thinking. The Quinshon Judkins stuff. Give me your thoughts there.
Well, Adam and Evan talked about it on the Top 150 Updates podcast I did yesterday, and I thought they both approached it pretty well and kind of spoke into existence how I want to think about it too. And that he's still unsigned. There still could be a suspension from the NFL at this point. He hasn't practiced with the team at all or been around in the facility. They used another draft pick on Dylan Sampson. They have Jerome Ford there. So it's like, okay, if Quinshon Judkins does sign, when is that going to happen? Is he going to get suspended? What is his role going to be on the team? There's just a lot of lingering questions. And with a format like this, it's like every week counts the same, again, as we've harped on throughout this draft. So I'm much more willing to lean into the Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson guys when there's just and Quinshon Judkins, like I think with the Browns, they're likely taking the long view on him, and it's like, okay, they're not pushing for the playoffs this season anyway. Like, why are they necessarily in a rush to get this guy back in and load him up with work? So I've been taking a lot of Dylan Sampson the last couple weeks.
And there's one more data point that came out this morning reporting that the Browns are potentially interested in a running back in a trade for the Brian Robinson. And so that tells me, like, you don't do that if you think Quinshon Judkins is going to be ready. Like, either that's a leverage play against Quinshon or they just actually believe that being a risk. Running backs, Rashad White, Tyler Algier. I like either of those. Adam Thielen, Trey Harris, Xavier Legette, Quentin Johnson, Dante Thornton. It's getting kind of ugly here.
It is,
I
yeah.
wouldn't mind going Thielen or a running back.
I totally agree. I kind of lean a wide receiver just since it is thinning out a bit.
Yep.
I'm good with Thielen at this point. Yeah.
It seems like it's a strong drop off, and Thielen's a great for this format. And
Yeah.
hey, who knows? Maybe he's a Minnesota Viking. I've started stacking him with some JJ McCarthy after
Really?
veteran. Yeah. I mean, it just makes too much sense. You've got the Vikings are in the market for a veteran wide receiver. Why? Because Jalen Naylor has the hand issue. Jordan Addison suspended for 3 games. I don't think it has anything to do with the Justin Jefferson injury, but I think it's just overall they want that additional presence. And then you have Adam Thielen on the Panthers, who he's literally blocking younger guys in their development. And he has the familiarity with the Vikings organization. It all makes too much sense.
I'm curious what you think, what you want our roster build to look like at this point. And if we were thinking about taking Cole Kmet late, like if that would adjust you to want to take 3 tight ends, since it's a bit of a thinner bet, what do you kind of think with overall finishing roster construction here?
Yeah, I still have my eye on Sam Darnold because I think for this structure, especially when you draft someone like JSN, he makes a lot of sense. And the draft capital wise of Mahomes, Caleb, and Darnold fit well for me. I think we have enough time for you to convince me a little more on the Cole Kmet, because I don't think that like my player tag on Cole Kmet is strong enough to bring him in just as a stack partner. But like, if you can convince me that like there's probably other tight ends that I think are at the same price point that would be stronger. He does add a strong uniqueness, and there's the correlation. So I'm willing to listen to it. But I think that's where I would say like I'm leaning towards 3, 7, 8, 2.
Cool. Yeah, that's when we first started. I was thinking 3, 7, 8, 2. With Kmet, I think it's just like, again, if Loveland were to go down, then I think Cole Kmet could be a potential tight end 1. So when you're getting him at the end of the draft, like that's enough for me to dream when we have a naked Caleb otherwise.
Yeah,
but there's a chance, we could get Roshan or something else.
And I think that's where in my head it's like in round 20, we expect to take a tight end, and we have strong confidence Cole Kmet is there, and we see who also is there, and then we play that accordingly. Oh, and Darnold went with a Torrey Horton instant click. Okay.
Man, round 14, Torrey Horton is life comes at you fast.
Okay. Do we want to consider there's no other stack partners? I'm now thinking like we don't need to force a third QB.
Yeah, my initial thought was a Jackson Dart, Darius Slayton pairing, assuming Slayton is still on the board, which I think he should be. And then we also have Scatabo. I don't hate that. I think Jackson Dart is going to play pretty early. I'm not saying we have to go that route now. What do you think right now? What's at tight end?
Should we go Cade Otton?
Yeah, let's do Cade.
Okay. The Cade Otton argument here is, especially to start the year, make sure we didn't screw up buys there. No, we didn't. Okay. We're good. The Cade Otton, because his 3 big games last year were when they were, I think it was just Jalen McMillan as the wide receiver for like 2 of them, and maybe Evans was in one of them as well. So it's clear that like they're happy to give him an increased volume role when they need it. And given the lack of health right now at the wide receiver position, Godwin's going to miss the first, 4 or 5, maybe 6 games. McMillan looks like he's going to miss the first 8+ games. I think Otton kind of might have a bit of a larger role than we were expecting a week or 2 ago.
Agreed. That wide receiver room has thinned out in an absolute hurry. Darius Slayton just went, so that back stack kind of goes out the window maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think Streamy has
I don't know if you're even interested in that. Yeah.
Well, I like it a lot more when the playoffs are just so important. But like if you're taking a 0 for 60% of like a full season contest, like I think there's a better argument. Oh, honestly, maybe there goes Russell. Oh, that's Roman Wilson. Like you could convince me Russell Wilson because then he's even lower owned. I think Russell Wilson gets 8 games, but like has an opportunity to play. But I don't know. Like I'd probably take Dart, but like that's yeah, it's not as much of a clear.
Will you click on running backs to see
Yes,
what we got
yes.
there?
I'll put Roshan in the queue. DJ Giddens I like as well. Taj Brooks. I'm going to click over to wide receiver. Quentin Johnson, Jalen Noel, Jack Betch, Jalen Coker, Michael Wilson, Ayo Manor.
Cool.
Jones,
I think
Shuck,
given our
Dart.
team, I'd be good with Roshan here.
Okay.
There's nothing else sticking out to me, and just given the correlation there, I think also a unique buy in our running back room, which I like.
Yep, just looking at that as well. Running back room, Kamara, Connor, ETN are kind of three chuggers, definitely going to play early on. Scatabo, Dylan Sampson, Roshan Johnson. Yeah, I think one like rookie with upside fits well with to complement this room.
Yeah.
I've got a couple guys here that I like. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, JSN, Xavier Worthy, Juwan Jennings, Hollywood Brown, Adam Thielen. For a PPR league, I mean, I'm happy like, hey, Jefferson, JSN, Worthy's a great start, but we do want to add some more depth. So, I mean, 2, 7, 8, 3, 3, 7, 8, 2, something like that. Yeah.
I think I'm okay. Yeah. Do you mind clicking on quarterback? I just
yes.
Want to see what the options are there. Okay, Daniel Jones still there, which is interesting.
Tyler Shuck we have with Kamara.
True.
Just wish we would have a better idea, but like
I just have so much Shuck on like Olave and Shaheed stuff that I don't even really think about him when I don't have one of those guys. So,
but if you this is the structure where it makes more sense with the Kamara. Like versus needing that one, weekly upside. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Wide receivers. Are we concerned about this concussion? Obviously, the market is.
I don't know. I wasn't initially. It looked just like a normal, kind of big hit, head hit the turf, concussion type scenario. And since we were far enough out from week one, I didn't think it would threaten his playing time. So I'm not overly concerned on QJ in that regard. I mostly have been passing on the later Chargers guys, Trey Harris and QJ. Just once they signed Keenan Allen, I'm just not nearly as juiced up to grab those guys. But I don't hate it.
It's just so cheap.
It is very cheap. I'm a huge Jalen Coker fan.
Okay.
And I like taking him quite a bit. I think, it's not as clean as
real quick. We're on the clock.
Yeah.
DJ Giddens, or do you want to go to wide receiver?
If Giddens is our last, I'm good with Giddens. I like him quite a bit too.
Okay. I think I have him. He's my second highest owned running back on DraftKings. And because 20 rounds, started taking him more on 18 round sites. The Tyler Goodson injury gives me even more increased confidence, even though he was already kind of playing ahead of him. And going into the draft, I was just big on DJ Giddens' talent. So I think he can get standalone value as a third down back. And if Jonathan Taylor gets hurt, like actual upside there.
Yeah.
So the wide receivers you were referencing, I still do like, and I think we can grab 2. Nobody's actually want to.
I mean, we could almost go whatever 2-7-9-2 here.
Yeah. When I spend on Jefferson, JSN, Worthy, like I'm not looking to go 9, but I agree. Like 3 at the end is fine.
Right. Take some swings.
One note from a strategy angle, I think in these type of contests, it's also very important to go for guys who have not been drafted much, because like if 10% of the field was taking the Puka, you have such a huge leg up if that ends up being the breakout, where if Puka was actually drafted by 90% of teams, yeah, you got a really good team, but you're still competing against 12,000 others. I'd rather have only 1,000 others have that player. So Jalen Coker is a good one. I mean, we don't have the actual how often they've been drafted, but we can still kind of conceptualize based off what's happened over the past couple months, hype wise, who's moved up and down.
Yeah. I think
So that's like
someone just mentioned in the chat too, Troy Franklin. I do think the Denver receivers are interesting in best ball at this point. I think they're thinner bets in redraft just because it's going to be hard to know when to start them most likely. But I had definitely we moved up Mims and Franklin and Pat Bryant in the ranks as well, and I would imagine that Troy Franklin hasn't been drafted in all of these.
Yeah, Pat Bryant went 157. I'm good with Troy Franklin. He's definitely not going to make it back to us after talking about it.
That's fine. Him or Coker.
Okay. Coker's been drafted more often. I do like Coker. But like, I think Franklin has a higher upside value to this team.
If you are in the camp of feeling could get traded, then I mean Coker is an awesome value, but
yeah, I agree with that.
I should probably stop saying his name. Maybe we can get lucky.
I think you just really like to talk about the Coker. Yeah. There he goes by Elite is making up for his like Buka pick by getting a low-owned Coker. I like it. Yeah, we forgot about this, but honestly, this does fit the bill specifically for our team pretty well. Zacchaeus.
Yeah. I wonder. What do you think about that? I mean, what are the chances that I guess injuries could happen, obviously too.
Yeah, I think like the first. Yeah, I think he could definitely be the primary slot guy for the first 3-4 weeks of the season while Luther Burden comes on, and then also like, I mean, Luther Burden already had a soft tissue injury, and the way that the skill sets of the Bears, like you can move your wide receivers around, like it wouldn't shock me if, let's say, DJ Moore got hurt and then Luther Burden started playing more in the DJ Moore role, and then Zacchaeus kept that same role he has now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not moving Zacchaeus outside, but
do you mind scrolling down on
Luther
wide receiver a little bit just to see I can see who's there? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, here. Honestly, I hadn't thought about taking Zacchaeus in like any best ball format, but there's certainly paths.
This is the only contest I would do it on, and with us having the stack partner. Oh, he already went. Thanks. Okay. Do we want to do Shuck? Okay, so wide receivers, it's all the guys that you kind of are hanging out here.
Yeah. Is man, what's the Rams? Not blanking on the speedy guy.
Whittington, Puka, Adonai Mitchell. I don't know who you're talking about.
Tutu on the clock. Tutu Atwell.
Okay.
Is he still there?
He's still there. So are you a no on Shuck?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So Tutu?
Sure.
Okay.
I like Tutu. I do think Tutu is going to be the wide receiver 3 to start the season. Again, someone I'm more willing to take in this format. Whittington, I like on more like playoff heavy sites as a last round guy.
I really wanted to be high on Jordan Whittington because I do believe he's like the direct backup to Puka. But once it turned into a parlay where now I need Puka and Puka to get hurt and Matthew Stafford to be healthy, like it kind of became a bit too low odds for me.
Yeah.
I'm more okay with like 2-2 just because he's going to be out there, signed a $10 million contract.
Yeah. I think with Shuck, the reason I don't necessarily love him is just because, like, man, if we have Caleb Williams and Patrick Mahomes, like we're gonna need those two dudes to play really well. I'm not really sure what Shuck gets us like paired with Kamara here. I also don't think Jackson Dart is like that much less likely to start as many games as Shuck, given the way the Rattler thing goes. I think Dart could start 10 to 12 games.
Okay. Dart is still available as well. Let's take a look at the tight ends. Fryermuth, Juwan Johnson, Tyler Higbee, Noah Gray, Dalton Schultz, Darren Waller, Terrence Ferguson. There's your Komet.
Yeah.
I hope it comes down to these two players, and then you've got to tell me which one you're going with. And Don't forget. Sorry, I did not forget, chat. We are still going to do a giveaway. We've just been so deep in this. Let's do, we'll get it going. Put hashtag ETR in chat and you will automatically be entered into the giveaway. And then we will let the StreamYard do its thing. Hashtag ETR, put it in chat, and you will be entered into a giveaway for a Drafters main event. Jackson Dart, Cole Kmet. Hopefully you were using that time wisely and thinking about which of these two you want to go with.
I think, man, I'm torn. I think I'm on the Cole Kmet train.
Okay. Give me some more. You got 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's mostly just I think it's probably going to be really unique in this contest. We've just been talking about how you need the really high end outcome to pay off in this kind of format. Likely not drafted by many teams. We get the stack with Caleb, that partner, and Colston Loveland that could get injured. We could run more 2 tight end sets in Chicago there. Seems unlikely with the strength of the wide receiver room, but hey, we don't know what's going to happen. There's a chance that come out week 1, Cole Kmet plays a lot more than we're expecting to start. And I think, there's legitimate upside there.
He could get traded as well. Like there's a lot of possibilities, but yeah. Okay. I like that. We ended up going with it. For me, it comes down to Jackson Dart. Like, he's already going to miss so many games. And then how many games is he then outscoring Mahomes and Caleb Williams?
For sure.
Versus, hey, Cole Kmet, like, you just need the injury and one injury, and now he's very live to contribute occasionally in the tight end position as well as potential flex. And he's far, far, far more unique than Jackson Dart is if he ends up having some crazy breakout season. 'Tis the season gives us that Kmet is a sharp pick. So you must have made the right choice there.
It's harder to imagine him counting on a Brock Bowers team, but certainly there are chances where he's out there in 2 tight end sets as we mentioned, and then we saw Brock Wright catch some touchdowns just in games where Laporta was healthy last year. I think Ben Johnson's creative. I think there are certain games where Cole Kmet, even if Colston Loveland's healthy, is going to catch 3 balls and a touchdown. So could potentially count for us at certain points.
For sure. All right. Well, this was awesome. This was so much fun. For people who've been watching, this is, again, Drafters. They have the $20 main event, $500,000 to first place. And pretty sure there's going to be overlay. Looking like it is, especially with the, hey, drafts. I mean, NFL starts in 2 weeks, so not much time. Highly likely overlay. For people who are new, your first deposit, you can double that first deposit up to $100. Use promo code ETR. I'm stalling a little. I'm trying to give you guys time. I think everyone who's had a chance, put hashtag ETR in there. We will flip on over to the giveaway screen right now.
So sweet. I didn't know StreamYard could do this. This is my first giveaway experience here.
It's pretty. Let's see. 45 entries. We've got 316 in chat, but only 45 people want to put the ETR. That's okay. Let's do it. I think I saw people putting it a couple times. You're not going to get a double entry. The computer is smarter.
Rickadoozle trying to bamboozle all of us and get multiple entries in there.
Haven't you seen the man versus machine? Just because Levitan was ruling for the man doesn't mean the machine's going to allow you to put multiple entries in. All right, 49. We're going to give you 5 more seconds. 4.
Hashtag 3, ETR, folks.
2, 1. Let's see who wins. Whoever does win, send me a DM at Justin Herzig, and I will get you connected. Joey Chrysler. Oh, congratulations, Joey Chrysler. Well done. And shoot me a DM on Twitter at Justin Herzig. And I assume you have Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, I don't know. Find a way to find me or contact support. You can find me. And I will get you hooked up with your free Drafters main events contest. People in chat, you were fantastic.
Yeah, this was a blast. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you for joining. Chat loved you. Your insights. I mean, this is like behind the scenes for how these projections are actually created. You've got Mark and the larger team in there every single day. Take advantage of all that information. 2 weeks left to draft all of your home leagues, everything else. I am going to send us away, but best of luck with you're heading home. So best of luck in your home draft.
Thank you.
You gonna like I don't know, like do you like razz the teammates a little? Like do they just like steal your picks? How does this work with
It's tough. It's an auction draft, so I will say some league mates I think are guilty of just bidding on players I like. So I try and bid on pretty much every player. I'm going to be honest. That's been my strategy the last couple of years, is just toss out some dollar amounts, and I have not had great success in this league the last couple of years. So I'm coming back with a vengeance.
I know that feeling. All right. Well, best of luck to you. Best of luck to everyone in chat. Have a great weekend. And I think this is actually going to be our last stream of the summer, because next Thursday I am traveling. Maybe someone else in ETR will step up. But I mean, hey, this was a pretty great one to end the summer if it is. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.